Ok, pessoal, ok. Boa noite, boa noite. Começando mandando esta live para todo mundo que eu posso. É o primeiro passo que eu faço. Penny já está por aqui. Vamos aguardar um pouquinho. Hold on, Penny, please. Just 2 or 3 minutes. Pessoal, me desculpem pela tosse hoje, mas é que eu fiz um ensaio onde a galera estava tossindo. Então, se não, fumando, eu que estou tossindo. E aí é difícil, só amanhã para eu ficar bom de novo, ok? Fala, aviãozinho, o pessoal tá entrando. Só tô mandando aqui essa live para a galera para assistir, tá? A gente já vai conversar. Só um minuto aí, gente. Ok. E aí, pessoal, boa noite. Eu vou falar em português primeiro, um pouquinho para vocês, tá? Depois eu falo em inglês. Boa noite a todos. Tudo bem com vocês? Hoje nós temos uma convidada muito legal. Oi, Elisa. Hi, Elisa. Tchau, Elisa. Don't go away. Stay here. Watch Penny Larson. You like it, Penny Larson. Nós temos aí uma convidada muito legal, muito importante hoje, que é a baterista Penny Larson. Ela está aqui com a gente, vai estar com a gente aqui no Instagram. E se você quiser assistir no YouTube, olha a dica, assista também no YouTube depois, se você quiser, ou agora. No YouTube, a imagem dela tá perfeita e ela tem uma câmera, um switch de câmera para mostrar em cima da bateria e do lado. Você vai gostar. Então, hoje nós temos Penny Larson, vocês vão gostar muito de conversar com ela e fazer. As perguntas hoje vão ser muito importantes, tá? E porque vai ser muito importante. Então, nós temos Penny Larson, direto dos Estados Unidos. Nós temos, na semana que vem, na terça, Natália Galante, de São Paulo. Nós temos na quinta, Chiara Cotugno, da Itália. E nós temos, no sábado, Sofia Zosorpoulos, eu acho que é assim que fala, direto do México, ok? Lembrando vocês que estão aqui no Brasil, por isso falando em português, se vocês quiserem comprar alguma coisa no Clube do Baterista, que é onde vende bonés, camisetas, esse tipo de coisa. Lá no Clube do Baterista, você pode usar o nosso cupom de desconto, tudo em maiúscula, tudo junto, Girls on Drums. Já está valendo, você tem 10% de desconto lá nesse site do Clube do Baterista, ok? So, tonight we have a special guest, Penny Larson, from United States. Very good drummer, also drummer you like so much, I have no doubt. If you want to see this streaming on the YouTube, you will have so many surprises because Penny have a switch camera, equipment for switch camera angles, and you can see the drums from the top and the drums from the side, and you can see a very good quality of the image from Penny. I think that you like. Don't be shy. Write your questions using the question box down below with the interrogation point here down below, or send your questions on the comments. Okay, so let's go. We are very happy to talk with Penny Larson this night. Let's start because you have so many things to talk about it. Hey, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Like I said for you on backstage, sorry for my little cough. Because I hate smoking, but I have to do a rehearsal with people that like to smoke. So I had to smoke in.
I understand.
Oi, Fernando. Hi, Fernando. How are you? Okay, I'm seeing you that you are on your drum kit, a
Yes.
very beautiful drum kit. I hope that we can explore all of them because it's
That's
a
the plan.
a really big drum kit.
So, I mean, it's funny, right? I'm dating myself a little, but so when I was little, I grew up and I fell in love with Neil Peart, right? Of course. And so I used to have rototoms, and um, this isn't the biggest the drum kit's ever been. Right now, I play 2 bass drums, 3 rack toms, and then 2 floor toms on this side, and then on my left side, it's either 1 auxiliary snare and a bigger floor tom, or 2 auxiliary snares. And sometimes I have a 22-inch frame drum that I can mount on a stand, and so it almost works like a gong, gong bass drum, like that. So, and then I have a lot of cymbals because cymbals are
Yeah,
fun.
we can talk about all of your symbols too. You won't escape from this. So let's start from the beginning. Your father was a drummer.
True.
Yeah, tell us about this. Did he play with big drums like your?
No, so I mean, it's a funny story. I never knew my dad all that well,
Yeah.
because he and my mom weren't together. But I marched when I was little. I marched in drum corps, and he like kind of followed me through drum corps, and he gave me my first drum set. But he was more into like blues bands, like BB King and stuff like that. So he had a really small drum set, just 1 bass drum, 1 tom. So, but it was good. The little bit that I definitely got his drumming, like in my blood. But the little bit that I was exposed to his drumming, to hear it, he was all about making it feel good, right? So even when I use a lot of drums, I'm always trying to make it feel good, right? And that's from my dad, right?
Great. So, what's the first grooves or rudiments that you learned with your father?
Oh, I don't even think he taught me any rudiments,
Mm.
right? Like I say, I didn't know him I didn't live with him ever. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um, so we would talk about drums, but he never really like taught me anything directly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, I know. But you learned to play something watching him or talking about drums with your father.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny. The things that I learned the most were, because so I started in drumline when I was 8, and in drum corps, they tighten up the drums really tight and everything, and I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to do that on my drum set. So the drum set that he had given me, I had the heads, tight, pretty much as tight as I could get them. And so he explained that wasn't the thing. And so we talked about how the drums should sound in the drum set, and more about, because the drum line was very rudimental, right? I was working on paradiddles and double stroke rolls, um, and so we talked about how, um, just how the drum set is so different, right? You can use rudiments on the drum set, sure, but so much of the playing is about like, not, I hate to use the phrase keeping the beat, right? Because that's just this weird phrase, but about, propelling the music forward in kind of a just giving the music groove, right? And so, like I say, you can do that with rudiments, but so much music doesn't need rudiments for that to happen, right?
Yeah, yeah. So when you turned your first drum kit so tight, did you have any problems with your drum heads?
Um, well, oh goodness, this is a long time ago. I
Like I said from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, let's go with probably, but I wasn't aware enough to realize, right? I'm sure I stretched out the heads a lot. Um, but like I was 8 or 9, right, at that point, and so I was just hitting stuff. I wasn't really ready to think about how it sounded yet.
Yeah, yeah. What's your first drum groove that you played after breaking your drum heads first?
So
Your drum groove.
the first song I remember learning was a song by a band called Big Country. It's a British like new wave band, and the song is In a Big Country, and it's just this. Yeah, it's this cool doom da doom doom fat doom, but it has this little hi hat, and I fell in love with that so much. So I brought that into my drum teacher, and I was like, "We got to learn this. We got to learn that." And I think that was why. So I was doing the drum corps thing, and I had an instructor there, but I think the reason that I started taking drum set lessons was because I wanted to play that song.
Yeah, but because it's not easy. It's not easy to play that song. It's the drummer is Mark Brzezinski. I don't know how to say it.
I don't remember how to pronounce it either.
It's very good drummer. Very good drummer. It's great. The groove is like a shuffle, correct?
I don't know that I would call that a shuffle.
It's not a dotted note. It's not a eighth note dotted.
Yeah, but it's just they're straight 16s, right?
Yeah.
Right. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Doom da doom doom doom. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that offbeat kick.
Yeah. I like so much this track. Big Country, living in a big country. The band is over, correct? Mark Brzezinski is alive. Do you know anything about?
I don't know.
Do you remember the groove? Play for us this groove. I like so much this track. Don't have to put the track. I know that you have the track on your mind.
It's been a while. Let's see what I can do. I'm gonna play it for you with hot rods, just so it doesn't sound awful.
No problem.
There we go. So it's like a. I'm gonna do this though.
Yeah. So people, you can try to find the band is Big Country, and the track is Big Country.
In a Big Country.
In a Big Country.
Right. Very so the band is Big Country, and then the track is In a Big Country.
Yeah. You can find on YouTube. It's very cool. So Penny, what the first step to start a professional career that you did?
What was my first step?
Yeah. After try to play in a big country.
So I mean, it's funny. Most of my professional work has been teaching, and then with my primary band Hypaspace, right, which is this instrumental trio. And I do like some bar gigs and stuff, but for the most part, I started teaching when I was 16 because I had moved on to a different drum corps, and that drum corps was starting like a junior corps, and they pretty much said, "Hey, does anyone want to teach the junior corps?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." I started teaching almost right away, and then by the time I was 18, I was teaching on drum set. And over the years, I've had different numbers of students, right? Sometimes you have as few as like 10 students or whatever, but I've also had like 50 students, right? So it's a very fluctuating game, right? But that's enabled me to do so much of the music that I make is music that I'm really passionate about and care about, right? Like, so every, once in a while I'll do like a musical gig, like a Broadway type thing. if like I know the people and if it's going to be fun, right? And same thing with the bar things. I do those mostly if they're fun and I want to play music I like and have fun. And I mean, it's nice to make a little extra money too, but just because of the teaching, I haven't been so dependent on the playing, which in some ways is weird. I wish I had toured more now that we're all stuck in our houses. All I want to do is fly around the world and play drums. So
I think like you, because I'm teaching for about 30 years right now, and sometimes I really wish to do more tours.
Mhm.
Of course, I do, but I really to do more. But when you do tours, you cannot teach so much,
right.
correct?
Although it's
So
getting better with the online stuff.
yeah,
Nowadays, you just take a cell phone and you can teach. Right.
exactly. But I have a question for you. What do you think? What do you think about being a drum teacher? What do you think it's really necessary? Because look, sometimes the drummer play so very well, but not teachers so very well. One example, Buddy Rich. Buddy
Sure.
Rich don't teach, and sometimes I read something that some people ask for him for playing something or showing something. It's not a good teacher. What do you think about it?
So I think the most important thing is being able to break what you're doing down into smaller pieces. Um, there's a joke that I like to tell my students, and I'm always worried about jokes making the language barrier. But let's see how it goes. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So, and there's like old Chinese proverbs about that too, right? Like you can move the biggest mountain one stone at a time, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, the thing about the eating one bite of an elephant that I think is important is if you show something to someone and their eyes glaze over or they can't do it because it's too difficult, you need to figure out some way to make it more simple, more digestible for them, right? And that can be a lot of different things, right? It can mean playing it slower, and talking about counting, but it can also be, saying, oh, well, let's take out this part. Let's say it's 4 limbs, right? And your left foot is doing something on the hi-hat. Well, let's not do the left foot. Let's see if we can do your right hand, your left hand, and your right foot. Okay, no, we can't do that. Okay, so let's see if we can do both hands, and let's see if we can do it slower, and and then it's just a matter of building it up from there, right? I did this clinic, oh God, like 15 years ago that still sticks with me, that I love so much. Like I've done some since then, but this is my favorite. This like series that I did, and it was all about how, almost assuming we're in 4/4, right? Almost every drum beat we're going to play, not shuffle, right? Assuming we're on straight eighths, 4/4, everything is just a variation of boom, bap, and you're either adding things or taking things away. And once you know that, then it's just a matter of learning each piece. I can sometimes fall into, do you know what information overload is? Right. So sometimes I can give students a little bit more than they're ready for. So I have to be careful
Yeah.
about making sure that those bites of elephant are small enough. Right. But to me, that's the most important. I mean, the obvious things are have your chops together, know how to read music, know all your rudiments, I mean, you don't have to be Buddy Rich to teach, right? But be able to play pretty well, right? And have some confidence in your playing too, right? And then be able to transfer it into words for someone else to hear. I mean, some teachers, play, let me show you this, let me show you this, let me show you this, let me show you this. And that's fine. But to me, that's that's kind of the long way around. That's an inefficient way to teach, because if all you're doing is getting your students to mimic what you're doing, they're not learning to think about it and put the pieces together in their head.
Yeah.
So I really think being able to talk it out in words and get them to understand it in words and be able to say it back to you in words, I think that's the, if like I was going to say, well, what's the one important, that's the thing, right? That the teachers, you know, like I went to a festival with Dave Weckl, and I've, you know, taken lessons from a bunch of different people, and the lessons that I feel the best about are when people can take what they're doing that seems impossible, and they talk about it for like 5 minutes, and you feel like, oh wait, no, I can do that. I mean, I maybe can't do it right now, but I know what to practice to do that, right? And that's hopefully what a job of a teacher is, to figure out, you know, how to get you on that path to, oh, I want to be able to do that. How do I do that? Okay, well, let's figure that out, right? So.
Yeah, great. We have many questions for this streaming. When you start to doing lessons for a student, do you ask about what are the intentions of the
Absolutely.
student to
Yeah.
play drums? For
Yep.
example, I see some students that really want to play professionally. Some students want to play in a good way, really want to play well, but don't want to play professionally. And we have these students that just want to play some songs, maybe play a drum cover, or doing some rehearsal with friends with no compromise. How do you organize your students?
Well, so there's I had a student start earlier today. Saturdays, I'm doing the store I teach. We're doing in-person lessons, so I actually get to see people in person, which is awesome. But I had a new student today, and we got to talk about, so what do you want to do, right? And kind of the I don't know, the spectrum I use is like, you could be, you know, do you want to be a professional, or you know, do you want to play bar gigs with your buddies on the weekend? Or pretty much you said them all, right? The only thing you didn't list is sometimes there are students who, you know, my mom said I have to play an instrument, or I'm here for like school credit, or that kind of thing. But even those kids, usually we can have fun, right? I mean, we're hitting stuff with sticks. That has to be fun, right? So yeah, it's so different for every person, you know, that I think for me, it's my job to figure out where you are and where you want to go, and then help you get there, right? I don't use a standardized curriculum, right? I personalize my curriculum for all my students, because I think that everyone deserves, you know, and there are some books that I use with most of my students, but I do a lot of like writing of individualized exercises or, you know, oh, hey, you're having trouble doing this, let's work on that groove, right? And so it's just a matter of figuring out, you know, there's the long-term goal. You want to go to Berkeley or college, or you want to be a professional drummer, or, you know, you want to be a lawyer, but you want to have fun drumming on the weekends to blow off steam, right? And so then we can set some expectations, but those are like out there, right? So then it's just a matter of like, well, what are we doing today? And what are you going to have next week? And what are you going to have in 6 weeks, right? So, but to me, that's a big part of, that's related to the last question, right? About breaking down the drumming into words. It's also about goal setting and expectation setting, right? Because I mean, you know, I could have a brand new student come in, and we could work on Tom Sawyer, say, right? And we could play it, right, one note at a time, really slowly, but that's not a good use of our time, right? So it's about figuring out a good use of the time.
Yeah, great. But what do you do when your new students say to you, Oh, Penny, I don't want to learn how to read. I don't want
Nobody
to
learned to
read.
read. Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like the
No,
the the
that's
the notes is I mean, I have so afraid from the notes. I don't want to read. I just want to play.
yeah, no. So here's the thing. You get 1 week of that, right? Especially beginners will come in, and the first week we'll just do R's and L's for right and left, right? Um, but the second week I start teaching notes. Like I don't. There's no. You can have different levels of reading, right? And if you want to play professionally, or if you want to play like classical music in a symphony setting, then your reading needs to be really top notch, right? But even if you just want to play music, you still have to learn to read charts and stuff. I mean, look at it this way: you're going to be able to play so many more songs if you learn to read like just the basics. Quarter notes, eighth notes, sixteenths, rest, repeats, slash notation. Like just, I mean, this takes 5 minutes to learn, and then it takes a couple months to really internalize it. But if you take reading just to like the lowest level, that's okay. It's so simple. It doesn't take long at all. Um, yeah, I kind of no one gets away with not reading. That's not a thing.
But do you still believe in that Buddy Rich or Danny Chambers don't read, can read? I can believe on this. I never believe, but people
That's
say from
difficult to believe.
yeah, because I one night I was to after the drum clinic, I was having a dinner with Jenny Chambers, and I asked for him, "What do you do when you are in home?" I was thinking that I try to play something or read, but he don't answer me. The only thing that he answered me for, it was, "Oh, in home, when I in home, I just spend a lot of time with my wife and my family. Just
Yeah, yeah.
just I don't believe that these drummers can do it.
Well, Buddy Rich said he didn't practice too, right? I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes it's fun to have that to make yourself look all cool. I don't practice. I don't read. I'm just awesome, right? And I get it. That's fun. Um, but I think part of it too is like there's a different level of what do you mean when you say like you can't read? I find it impossible to believe that Buddy Rich couldn't read lead sheets, right? Like the charts that the band was playing off. He was directing the band, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to be able to read that stuff on some level. And
Yeah.
they might be saying, maybe they're not expert readers, and that's fine, right? But yeah, I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I heard that the Steve Marcus, the
Uh-huh.
saxophone player,
Yeah.
um, Buddy Rich um, say to Steve Marcus, "Okay, let's do it," and Steve Marcus translate for the rest of the band. I
Mhm.
heard something about it. Okay, let's move forward. Tell us about your first professional gig.
Oh God, that's so long ago. Huh. I mean, it was probably just a nothing special in high school, right? That played a bar. I had so my first like original band was a progressive metal kind of band,
Yeah.
and we would do a lot of like parties and bars and stuff like that. Um, I was we were also it was the same members, but we did a Led Zeppelin cover band. So we were doing that too. But yeah, I don't remember my first gig in terms of like this is the day, this is the professional, right? It's all a blur, because I've been on stage since I was little, right? So it didn't really dawn on me when I was making the transition from not a professional to a professional. It's all, if I'm on stage, I'm happy. That's what I know.
So let's talk about the first time that you bring your double bass setup and the people at the band look for your double bass and said to you, "Oh, girl, we don't have space for two kicks." Did you heard this kind of stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Nowadays I try to know what I'm in for ahead of time so I don't end up in that problem. Um, but I've definitely had that happen a couple times where, people get scared by all the drums, right? Like you bring all these drums and people are like, "Oh my God." um, I mean, I kind of get it, right? Because there's a certain stereotype that if you have a lot of drums, you're going to play a lot of drums, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I kind of look at it like Simon Phillips. To me, this is my instrument, and I like to play on the same instrument all the time, even if I'm just going to play something very simple. It feels, one of the reasons I play on a double bass drum kit is because I'm very tall. You can't see it on the stream, obviously, but I'm over 6 feet tall, and I have really long arms. And the double bass, I don't know, it seems silly because it should be able to set up the same way just with one bass drum, but there's something about the way the tom's set up and the hi-hat and the ride cymbal that it just feels more comfortable with the two bass drums. So, but yeah, like I say, I try to solve those problems and those questions before I get there. Because there's nothing worse getting to a gig, right? Feeling like, oh, I'm going to set up all these drums and have so much fun. And then the next thing you know, people are giving you sour looks, and then, you end up with just a bass drum and a snare drum tapping away, right? So
I have to say too, like I showed you before, I have to show it for the people. I have behind me one of my drum kits. It's a double bass Gretsch maple. I just put this kit on this room for this week, and sometimes I like to bring with me two bass drum, but the people don't like to see, don't hate it two bass drums, because two bass drums it's like to, oh, you are playing heavy metal, you are playing so much drums, we don't need so much volume. Oh, you are playing double bass, we don't need the double bass. Well, I think like you, when you sit behind at a double bass drum kit, you play more comfortably. The things are more easy to reach out, but we have problems here to bring bass drums. I think it's time to see your drum kit right now.
okay.
So I remember Simon Phillips saying in an interview that if have to record, Simon Phillips had to record just one song playing snare, bass drum, and hi-hat, and sometimes a crash accent, just this, he will bring all the drum set.
Well, it's like, think about when you play a piano, right? You have all 88 keys. You usually don't play the highest ones and the lowest ones, but you still have them because it's all one instrument, right?
Correct.
And sure, I can totally just play, bass, snare, hi-hat for, a whole gig and still want to use, all the drums because
we have now here great Dorothea Taylor is watching us. Hi, Dorothea. How are you? we love you. Send your question for Penny here, please. Aline de Souza, mande sua questão sua pergunta em português. Eu vou traduzir para Penny. Send your questions right now. You are too shy. It's time to read the first question from people here. We have two questions from Fernando.
Yes.
Do you read? Can you read?
I
The
can.
kit are
Yep.
you using on this
Yep.
live stream is the Rapid one.
Yep.
Fernando, do you know Fernando? Fernando is a Brazilian guy that knows everything about every drummer, much more than me.
Yeah, Fernando is very sweet. Actually, we've talked a bit online, and he's a total sweetheart. Yes, this is, I don't know how well you can see it. These drums are wrapped with a custom wrap by a company called Six Skins, and the wrap is one of their normal colors called Heaven, but I did a custom version of it that's pink. The normal version is like blue or green, and so I worked with them a little bit to get the color just right. And so these are Ludwig Ludwig classic birch drums, and at the moment they're my favorite drums, but I'm sure at the other moment I will have different. So,
Fantastic. Do you have some problem with the connection right now because your image is not so good? It's on this Instagram. On the StreamYard is okay. Some is fail for 2 seconds, but I recover it. But here on the Instagram, can you maybe it's better to use on the Instagram your 4G. YouTube is okay. StreamYard, sorry. Sometimes this kind of things happen.
there we are.
Yeah.
How's that?
Is not so good how it was on the beginning. On the StreamYard is okay. No problem. So let's do the following. I will take you off from streaming and put it on again. Okay. Okay. Let's start again with Penny Larson here. Sometimes this kind of things happens. Okay, let's put Penny again.
How's that?
Yeah, no.
No?
It's like a granulated.
Oh, I get you. Let me try one thing.
Yeah. On StreamYard is very cool. Is better, but it's getting worse.
Oh no.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Are you talking about your finish, your drums finish?
So, so like I was saying, they're what do you call it? It's a company called Six Skins that does like a custom wrap, and this is a customized version of their color called Heaven, but I call it the pink jellyfish.
Yeah, I'm seeing you very well here on StreamYard, but the streaming is on Instagram. We have some problems. I don't know what is. Let's begin again. Sometimes it happens.
This is so funny.
Yeah. Okay, let's try again. No problem. Okay. Are you hear me on the Instagram?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. It's a little problem. So we have another question here.
Okay.
can you see?
Yes. Oh yeah. So tuning both bass drums the same. I've never done the two bass drums with a double pedal. That I can't bring myself to do that. Usually, what I try and do is have the higher pitched one on my left, so that I'm sorry, the lower pitched one on my left, so that I'll end with my right foot on the higher pitched one, right? So it's like dun 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 dun, right? But I try to get them as close as I can. And I use Aquarian's Force Heads, which is like the Power Stroke 3 with the ring, you know. And then I use a small pillow too. So with the tuning and the muffling, when they're recorded, they basically sound the same.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good quality drum heads. Can you show us a little bit about your drum sounds, your bass drum sounds? Are you using 4G right now on Instagram? Are you using 4G?
No, I'm on my Wi-Fi.
Try 4G, please.
Okay, it seemed I tried that, and that was when you told me it got worse. So 4G it is.
Yeah. It's not working 4G, correct? Yeah.
So that's on the 4G.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Let's try. Let's try.
Okay.
Let's hear your bass drum sounds about the tuning that you said for us.
Sure. So here, let me get you a little. There we are. And let me do this for the. So I tend to have them tuned pretty low with a little bit of tone, right? So. Is that quite a third? I don't think it's a third right there. I'm trying to get them close, but then in the context of playing, I feel like I like, even if they're not just perfect, it's a different sound, right? Like when Neil Peart went to the single bass drum, there were things about that I liked a lot, right? I like there's a punchiness when you use a double pedal that you don't get on two bass drums, right? But there's an air and a presence on the two bass drums that you don't get on a double pedal, right? So it's all whichever feels better for you. And I like a double pedal on. Well, I don't like playing a double pedal ever, but I mean, sound-wise, I like the way the double pedal sounds in some ways. But I like the two bass drums in some ways too. So it's
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so what? I'm so sorry.
No worries. I was just gonna say it's a thing I think about, but I don't stress about it too much. Right?
Yeah. What do you think when you saw Neil Peart using one bass drum for the first time?
I was heartbroken. It's so silly, but I always feel like playing two bass drums it's like part of a club, right? Like you've got to be totally crazy to play two bass drums. Like we were saying earlier, right? You know, it's more stuff to bring to a gig. It's more stuff to pack in your car, put on the stage. Everyone's gonna look at you like you're nuts, right? And so there's something special about the people who are willing to do that. And every time one of my favorite drummers switches from two bass drums to one drum, I feel betrayed, right? It's sad, which is silly, right? I mean, it's
silly. Well, which are your favorite Neil Peart drum kit? All times favorite Neil Peart
definitely the white
drum kit. The white from show of hands. Me too. Me too. I love the drum kit was not entirely white. It was pink. Do you know? Yes, completely crazy. Newport pink. The guys on the band said, I read, of course, said to New, "Are you crazy using a pink drum kit?" But for me, it's the most incredible drum kit. The sound too. I prefer that sound.
Yeah. Same.
And when you do you prefer Newport with one rack tone on front of or two, like the Roddy Bones drum kit?
Oh, yeah, too. I liked his drum set less and less, right? His DW kit is my least favorite of his kits.
Yeah.
I think he goes like, you know, the double bass Ludwig and then the single bass Ludwig and then the Tama and then the Slinger lid, right? And then the DWs.
Me too. We agree about the drum kit, the Ludwig drum kit, Newport. I love that sound and drum kit. Okay, we have more questions here. What bass drum technique do you prefer? Heel up or heel down or heel two?
So, I mean, the real answer is yes, right? Depending on what I'm doing, I'm gonna do any of those. For most of the stuff I'm doing, it'll just be heel up, right? And I like Derek Roddy talked about using his like hip flexors, right, to make the
Yeah,
motions.
yeah,
And that's pretty much what I'm doing most of the time. For heel toe, my left foot has never gotten good at like double stroke rolls on the bass drum, so I don't do heel toe too much with both feet. If I'm doing heel toe, that'll just be my right foot usually, and then I almost never play heel down. That was something I grew away from, when I was still a teenager. And I just, if I need to play really, really, really quiet, then I'll do some heel down. But I don't, you know what it is? So I put my foot back on the pedal. So if this is the hinge of the pedal, right? I
yeah,
have the arch of my foot is over the hinge, right? Um, and so that means because I'm so far back on the pedal, if I try to play heel down, I have to move forward on the pedal, but I also have to like kind of lean forward to get into that position, right? So yeah, I pretty much never play heel down.
yeah.
One of my
Great.
friends over the years said, someone asked him this question, and he said that pretty much all of the players he was looking at that played like modern drum set, almost nobody plays heel down in like rock and metal and prog and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff, right? So
yeah. I know. I see. Um, Dorothea, write on the comments here while we are talking about the Ludwig drums. She said here, DW.
well, that's like the best part about drums, right? Is we're really lucky to have different companies making so many great drums, and drums. It's an instrument that you can customize so much, right? If
Yeah.
you want to play just a snare drum and a floor tom and a bass drum, like you can do that, and that's totally cool, and that's a legitimate instrument. And if you want to play, um, you know, 15 toms and four bass drums, that's fine, and that's a legitimate instrument too, right? So I think that's awesome about drums, and just because I don't like Neil's DW drums doesn't mean they don't sound great, right? And doesn't
Yeah.
mean they're going to be someone else's favorite. Um, I that was the thing, right? When I was in drum corps, you get brainwashed with this philosophy of the best and better and that. And as I've gotten older, I like to think about my favorite more than best,
Yeah.
right? Because my favorite drummer is Rod Morgenstein. I don't know if he's the best drummer. I kind of don't care, right? He just when I listen to him play, I think, "Oh my god, this is my favorite stuff." And so I don't know. I love that we get to do that. You know that that some of us say Ludwig and someone else says DW. Right? That's awesome.
I met Rodney Augustine here in Brazil, in my city, many years ago. So he was here for
the Rudess Morgenstein project.
No, just a drum clinic, but I know the the Jordan Rudess play with. I play one time. I play in a show one of the songs that on CD. Very cool. So Rodney Morgenstein is one of my favorite drummers too. A very kindly person, so cool, so nice. I remember that we asked for him, how do you want to sound of the drums on the PA? How do you want to that your drum sound? And he looked for me and said, I just want to the drum sounds good. I trust in you. Just put your the sound of the drums sound good for the people that will be tonight here. Very kindly guy. Very. We have another question here. From Fernando. Do you use different tuning on each bass drum on some gigs? You already spoke about this, but
I don't think so. I want something pretty specific for my bass drum. That is that balance between punch with a little bit of like oomy air down the bottom, like right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories is when I was very, very little. I went to the Christmas parade, and as the drum line went by, I could feel the bass drum in my chest, and it was like magic, right? And so I want that punch, right? That modern kind of doom doom sound, but I also wanted to have enough ring, for lack of a better word, and presence and air that I can still feel it, right? And I pretty much want that all the time. If I'm doing like, jazz stuff or like a cocktail gig or something, then yeah, sure, I would bring one of my littler bass drums and I would tune it differently. But for most of the stuff that I do, I mean, like I was saying earlier, every once in a while I do, for a little while I was playing with a folk singer songwriter, and yeah, for something like that, I would do something a little bit more controlled for the bass drum tuning. But for like my instrumental band, and certainly for the stuff I've been doing for YouTube, and just like my general sound, or even like bar gig type stuff, that like classic rock stuff, I think I always want the same bass drum sound.
Yeah. Dorothea wrote here. Did you see? Did Dorothea comment?
Well, that's cool. I bet that was a very, very, very snazzy drum set indeed. The 23 DW kit. Nice.
Nice. Dorothea have a very nice drum kits. She have DW. She have Rogers. She have a very, very, very cool equipment, cymbals, snare drums. The live streaming with Dorothea, it was awesome. So we have a few minutes for finish this first part. Let's talk a little bit about your band and returns to continue the streaming. Okay? Tell us about your band right now, or where we can hear or find your the tracks.
So the Hypaspace, and it's a progressive instrumental trio, kind of like like Steve Vai, Joe Satriano. It's Satriano, Joe Satriani.
That Satriani is me. Do you recognize me?
Right.
Just let me pick up my guitar.
So it's my guitar player. He's my best friend. We've known each other since we were like 12 or 13, and we kind of grew up playing music together. We've done lots of different projects together. And so this band has been a thing for a little bit over 20 years. We're on our second bass player. So because things happen and sometimes people decide they hate other people. But it's, where can you hear it? So there's a YouTube channel, Hypaspace Band. I think almost all of the music, if not all of the music, is on Spotify. And is it on Bandcamp? Oh, I need to look into this more effectively. That's kind of, we don't have we kind of all we all do the web stuff together, which means that some stuff falls through the cracks. So
yeah,
I'm not sure that all of the tracks are anywhere in the same place. I know between YouTube and like Spotify, you should be able to find everything.
Great, fantastic. Do you have some
a new like record right now during quarantine? But
yeah.
That we had just been planning on doing it, all in person in the same room, and then because this all happened, our plans like totally changed. So
Yeah,
the bass player at the moment is pretty much learning how to record bass tracks at home.
yeah. as we all are doing this kind of stuff. So, do you have a track from your band to play for us? Not right now, just in a few moments. If you don't have, no problem. But we really want to hear something. So let's do it on second part. People, we want to share with us, with you, this streaming. The second part, don't go away. We have to finish right now, and return in 1 minute. Okay, don't go away. Prepare your questions for Penny, and we will return in 1 minute. Okay, see you. Is it okay? Here on the StreamYard, we don't stop. So let's return. Ok, estamos de volta. Uma live para mais pessoas. Okay, we are back. So, showtime.
So, so I think the way to do this for you is just I'm going to play it off my tablet.
Yeah.
This tune is called "Run for Your Life," and it's a
Yeah.
it's a double bass shuffle tune. It's kind of
Wow.
like Hard for Teacher, but a little faster. But the guitar line is almost like Flight of the Bumblebee, kind of. So.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing.
Yeah. Can you play this a little bit for us? This groove.
Sure.
Double bass shuffle is a really difficult thing to do. The first time that I heard this kind of stuff, it was Billy Cobham, Quadrant 4. The first time, do you agree? I don't remember any person doing this kind of groove before Billy Cobham.
Billy was first, yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew, just because of my age and the way I grew up, I knew Hot for Teacher first. But then when I went back and discovered Billy Cobham and heard Quadrant 4, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Hot for Teacher. Hot for Teacher is so difficult to play.
Oh yeah, the beginning of that is crazy. That was little story before I play the groove for you. So
yeah.
My worst experience on stage ever was Hot for Teacher.
Yeah.
we were playing a show, and my guitar player, God bless him, my best friend, he insulted the sound man before the show. And so he was frustrated, and he said something rude. He was kind of a jerk, right? But so then when we went to play, I started in with the intro, and so then I get to the part where the guitar comes in, and I realize I can't hear the guitar at all, which, there's that cue that the guitar does for the stop, right? Nope.
Yeah.
So we just muddled our way through, but yeah, it was the worst experience I've ever had playing, and that was, oh my goodness, like 35 years ago, and I still have nightmares. I've never played Hot for Teacher on stage since then, because just no way.
Really?
So the trick, let me see if I can do this here, and on YouTube I'm going to be super fancy and
yeah.
So the trick for me, right, with the double bass shuffle is pick one foot that's going to be the downbeat, right? And for me, it's always been the right foot. For a lot of people, if you're used to playing quarter notes on your hi-hat, then you can use your left foot. But for me, playing my right foot on the downbeat just made more sense. And so, is that right? Yeah. So once you've picked, here, I think I'm lying. Yeah, no, I'm lying. I'm doing my left foot on the downbeat. I'm sorry. But I start with my right foot, so I do a right, left, right, left, right, left. Once you've picked which foot is going to be your downbeat, you start with that, and then you add the other foot to shuffle. Right? And then you can do, the multiple things with your hand. At first, if you just play, quarter notes, I'll do it on the hi-hat just so it's a little more clear. But so you can just do the quarter notes too. Ha. Right? Before you worry about any of the it's just a matter of playing it fast, right? The thing that makes it crazy is that ghost note that you play between the triplets. So you get
Yeah.
But because you're playing that ghost note with the snare drum, once you can play this well, it's actually a really easy groove to exit. I mean, it's high energy, right? Like when you're on stage and it's, it's physically it's challenging, but in terms of like the drum part itself, it's really not difficult. Um, Once you get everything in the right spot, and then you can just wail on it, right? It's a very fun groove to play.
Yeah, Fernando wrote here. I think it's the most difficult part is figure out when the double bass part turns to shuffle to straight double bass in hot feature. I don't think it. I don't think that hot for teacher is have a straight eights.
Right. I agree.
It's shuffle all the time.
I think so.
It's like a boogie woogie, heavy boogie woogie kind of groove,
Yeah.
correctly? So we have quadrant for hot for teacher, and we have Fry Brain from Greggy Bissonette. It's a very cool track too, Fry Brain. So let's talk about
Do you know Space Boogie by Jeff Beck?
yeah, Space Boogie.
Seinfeld
Yeah.
drums. And then
Mm.
the Dixie Dregs with Rod Morgenstein. There's a tune called Patchwork, which it's like Space Boogie. It's a 7/4 with a double bass shuffle, and that's super cool.
Yeah. We have Mr. Big, Bulldog something from Mr. Big with Pat Torpey, late
Oh, yep.
Pat Torpey. His shuffle too is very hard to play that song. So let's talk about your YouTube channel. You have so many drum lessons on your channel. I tried to separate some questions about it and some lessons, but you have so much, which is good. Is good. You have to subscribe. So you can say about your channel, please, for the people here.
Sure. So about oh my goodness, like 8 years ago, I did a series called Rudiment a Day,
Yeah.
and so it's 40 videos that are short. They're like 2 to 3 or maybe 4 minutes, and I just run through the rudiments. And I like talking, so I go through the rudiments and I demonstrate them and I talk about technique, but I also kind of talk about like maybe how they feel or how I might use them or that kind of thing too, right? So it's not just here's the double stroke roll, right, right. Like I break it down a little bit. And then for a few years, I didn't really have a direction with the channel, so I would upload here or there. And then late last year, I decided that I wanted to do a series that was a whole year long called Your First Year of Drum Lessons. And so that's been what's going on this year. Some life stuff happened in August, and I haven't made a video in a little while. I'm hoping to get back at that soon, but I'm actually gonna do an update video for YouTube to kind of explain what the heck is going on. But yeah, so I realized it's funny. My initial version of Your First Year of Drum Lessons was that it was going to be very, very basic, right? And we're going to start at the beginning as if you don't know how to drum, and we're going to go from there. And a lot of videos from that series are that. There are a lot of really basic videos in there, but sort of just by accident, I created a few videos that are kind of advanced, well, at least intermediate, right? And so there's a little bit of the difficulty level bounces around a little bit. I said earlier, right? I don't really work with a standardized curriculum. And when I was making these videos, I started to create a bit of a standard curriculum. But then I realized, wow, that is hard, especially because I've never done it, right? And to the extent that I am, a lot of times I'm working with some books and then augmenting with my own stuff. But so yeah, so that's pretty much mostly the channel. Like if there was a theme of the channel, it would be my life as a drummer, right? Because sometimes there's when Neil Peart died, I did a 2-hour live stream just talking about how much Neil meant to me. Which, you know, I didn't plan. I didn't needed to. I found out he passed away, and I was kind of just sad, and I needed to talk to somebody. And my husband is lovely, but he's not a musician, and you know, I kind of needed to talk to drummers, even if it was just on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So there's stuff like that, and then sometimes there'll be like drum solos that I want to do. I haven't done too many drum covers. I want to do more drum covers. That's like on the list of things I want to do. Also, you know, there's a lot of people who do videos that I watch that are a little bit more. I don't want to say entertaining, but there's a little bit more, almost like talking and philosophy about drumming, more than just like do you know 80/20 drummer, and you know Steven's Drum Shed and Orlando drummer, right? Like a lot of these people who are doing, you know, lessons are also doing. They're kind of talking about what it means to play the drums and what it means to be a drummer and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I think I might want to dive into that a little bit too, you know. So
Yeah.
so just YouTube/Penny Larson.
Very easy to find. I for sure you will like so much the channel. We have so many lessons here. Really, really drum lessons. I mean, about more than 30 minutes each lesson. I'm seeing your to be right now. You have so many lessons here. Let's talk a little bit. Oh, can you change your camera?
I apologize. There I am.
Yeah. Let's talk about the details of your drum kit. I'm seeing here you have Roddy Morgenstein Premier poster
I do.
on the right side of the drums. I'm seeing Roddy Morgenstein the drum kits. Roddy Morgenstein drum kit. It's always awesome. Did you see the live streaming with Roddy Morgenstein for Sabian? Maybe 2 months ago, maybe. Yeah, so cool. So let's show us your drum kit in details, if you can.
Sure.
Yeah,
So, so I mentioned earlier it's a Ludwig Classic Birch. Um, at the moment, I alternate, right? So right now I have 10, 12, 14-inch rack toms. And then I don't know if you can see behind me. There they are. A 16 and an 18 floor tom.
yeah,
And then over on this side here, I have a 10-inch snare and a 8x14 snare. And then my main snare at the moment is 7x14 Ludwig brick. It's called, which is it's 20 plies of birch, and it's just got a nice like thick throaty sound. At the moment, I'm using single ply coated heads on the toms. I really just seem to not like 2-ply heads. I really like single ply heads. And then I have a dot on the snare because I always have a dot on the snare. It has to do. I like to play a lot of like it's that drum corps thing, right? I want to play a lot
yeah,
of articulate stuff.
yeah,
And I find the dot just helps with that a little bit, just to make it a little bit more clear. And then cymbals, I recently started working with TRX cymbals, and I don't even remember what the names are called, but I'm using the MDM medium splashes, the Chinas. Check this out. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this well.
very beautiful.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's two different kinds of lathing, right?
Yeah,
So there's this brilliant, and that's a little bit thinner, right?
yeah,
And here, and then the bell is raw, and it's just. I'm certain that doesn't sound good, but it's a really nice. It's not too raw and it's not too bright. It just sits in the nice spot. And then for my ride, there it is right over
yeah.
there. That's their alt ride, which is kind of similar to like, the Sabian Raw Bell dry ride,
Yeah.
like that, right? Um, Same thing as the snare drum, right? I want to play a lot of notes on my ride cymbal, and I want them to all be clear, right? I want to hear, ding 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 ding. As on the bow of the cymbal as much as on the bell, right? I mean, if you're playing on the bell, it's easy to get the bell to cut through, right? But I want the whole cymbal, the bow, to be clear too.
Yeah, yeah. And about your crashes.
Oh, so Crash I have, this is the Ice series. Um, and I don't think it's a separate buffing. I think it's a brilliant finish, but I think that's just the way that it's lathed.
Yeah,
They call that the diamond lathing.
yeah. Very beautiful.
Yeah, right. And it's I see everyone play all these really dark cymbals nowadays, but I still like really bright cymbals. And so for my crashes, I kind of want that sound almost like breaking glass, right? Just like a nice
Yeah.
splatter, right? Like, like a pretty crash is supposed to sound, right?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have like a bell, a
I do.
little bell?
Yep.
Yeah, great.
And
And
it
you,
goes forever.
yeah, do you have some kind of stacks behind you?
I do. Well, so this one I have up here, these are just two 8-inch splashes on top of each other. And I had never done that, but the president of TRX, I wanted an 8-inch size, and we were talking about a couple different things, and he suggested these two splashes, which I'd never done. I usually there's like one like mini China or something,
Yeah,
um, but this works amazing. It's like the shortest little, right. It's got a raw bite to it, but it's
yeah,
like gone instantly. And then behind me, the stack I have back there
yeah,
is oh goodness, that one is a China, but that model China is like it's like an inverted China.
yeah.
So, yeah, how well I can do this. So it's a splash on top, right? It's a 10-inch splash, but then the
Yeah,
China, yeah. See, so
yeah,
it's like the bell and the flange are on the same side,
yeah.
right? And then it's raw on one side and lathed on the other, and it's super thin. I don't know if you can see me bend it, but it's just a nice, raw, um, quick raw sound. I like those. It's so funny. Like I think Terry Bozzio was the first person I saw playing stacks forever ago. And it took me a long time before I started putting them in my kit. But once I did, I'm like, these are great. Because the same thing, right? You can play short rhythms on them and not take up much space. Right? And
Mhm.
then I realized I didn't mention, so for my hi-hats, I have the Bright series. And that's their, heavy unlathed cymbals. Um, and those just work for me there because they're heavy, right? I can get a nice loud foot sound, but I can also get like a loud splash, and
Yeah,
because they're raw on top, I'm gonna get like a clean stick sound too. So I tried a bunch of different types of hats, and these are the ones that worked the best for me.
very cool symbols. TRX is American made or
It's an
Turkish?
American, yeah, they're made in Turkey, but it's an American company.
Yeah, fantastic. I like so much. TRX are doing a new job with some female drummers, correct? I
Yes,
I see something.
yeah, that's TRX is there's a few companies, right, that like really go out of their way to try and support female drummers, which is super cool. It's funny because it's easy to say, oh, we're all just drummers, and being a female drummer shouldn't be a thing, but it was a thing for so long that now it's just cool for companies to kind of notice and say, hey, let's be a little extra supportive of female.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. We have a question here. Okay, from Fernando. I would like to ask you about the influence of Alphonse Mouton or Mouton on your yeah, on her playing.
God, it's gonna make me cry. So Alphonse Mouzon was he was a drummer in the Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Yeah.
So there was a band in the 70s called the 11th House, and Alphonse was the drummer in that band. And it was very similar to Mahavishnu, except that instead of the violin, they had a trumpet. So it was like this fusion rock thing with guitar, bass, keyboard, trumpet, and drums. And the trumpet was Reedy Brecker, and the guitarist was Larry Coryell. The bass player was Alfonso Johnson. I mean, it was a crazy band, super. And then Alphonse did kind of the same thing that Billy did. He went on to make a lot of solo records. And about 10 years ago, well, so said back to the beginning. So a very long time ago, when I was a teenager, I stumbled across a recording of Alphonse's called "Beneath the Earth," which
Yeah.
it's a pretty good tune. It's got like an intro and an outro, but in the middle is in 7/8. And I fell in love with the song like instantly. And so Alphonse was always like this player. He played with McCoy Tyner for a little while. Mostly he did this crazy record with Jaco Pastorius called Trilogue with oh god, who's the trombonist? Whatever. It's trombone, bass, and drum set, and it's crazy. About 10 years ago, I started exchanging messages with Alphonse on Facebook, and because my band had actually covered one of his tunes, and so he sent me a message. Influence on my playing, oh my god. So, in some ways, Alphonse is doing everything that I wish I could do. That he passed away like
Yeah.
but he is so much. I always tell people, there isn't a perfect drummer for me, right? There's like a little spot in my heart where like the perfect drummer would be, and that's the spot I'm aiming for, right? It's my goal to be my favorite drummer.
Yeah.
But that's my goal. And Alphonse is right. He's like right next to it, along with like Rod Morgenstein and Billy Cobham, pretty much. And so just Alphonse is. I don't know if he ever would have considered me like a friend, but I definitely considered he was giving me friendship, right? And so his playing was huge. Oh my god, there's this McCoy Tyner tune called Ebony Queen, and the ride cymbal part is obscenely fast, right? It's like and it's like 9 or 10 minutes long, like this fusion, heavy piano tune. And so I would play that and play that and play that, and I think that is part of the reason why I'm so like as mostly a rock drummer, honestly.
Yeah.
Because certainly in no small part because of Alphonse. But then the last few years of his life, just the messages we would share were so inspirational in terms of he would always say just the sweetest things about my playing and about me, and it was really, I don't know, it was really great to have one of your heroes be like he almost acted like he was a fan of mine, what I mean, it was so sweet, right? So in a weird way, Alphonse has like an outsized influence on my playing. Like he's a special cat, and I'm really sorry to meet. They were gonna do a tour like that year, and then he passed away, and Larry Coryell passed away like right after him, and so half of the band died like
Yeah. Yeah, Fernando always have good questions for us. We are now with about 1 hour and a half of live streaming. Yeah, yeah, it's a very yeah, no problem. It's a very good time for this kind of streaming. So let's talk about you, what are is your recommendations for the students that want to play double bass or just rocking like you, having you as a teacher. What kind of books or um, bands to hear or CDs, whatever.
Oh my goodness. So my favorite books, wow, my three favorite books you can't get anymore because they're Rod Morgenstein's first books. Um, but Rod Morgenstein's Drum Set Musician and Drum Set Warm-Ups, which is
Yeah.
everybody knows about Drum Set Musician. That's like a really great starter book for this, straight ahead rock, and
Mm.
shuffles are in there too. But then Drum Set Warm-Ups is this great book that we learn warm-ups on the pad, but we don't really think about warm-ups on the drum set. And this book has, I mean, it's
Yeah.
this thick, right?
Yeah.
And every page is a whole list of, all right, we're gonna do, this kind of pattern. We're gonna go outward. All right, now we're gonna go inward, and it's down the toms and up the toms and crisscross the toms.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of double bass, I mean, if you haven't started, I still think Joe Franco's book is the best book to start with, because it just lays out like all the basic patterns you should know. Um, if you haven't started, just play 16th notes and make that as steady as you can at a bunch of different tempos, right? Slow and fast and everything in the middle. And then play with your hands on top of it, right? So, too many chords. So if you're doing, right, just 16th notes, then right. So it's really easy. I saw do you know Alex Cohen?
Yeah.
So he posted something the other day about how, if you want to be a master of double bass, you have to go through like the Wilcoxon snare drum solos and play them with your feet and stuff. And right?
Yeah.
But in terms of like double bass chops that you'll actually use, that's super useful, and it's a great place to start. The other one, the very first thing I learned on double bass was just to do like almost like a drag, right?
Yeah.
You're playing, right? So you do right, left, and then snare, because it's really easy to just kind of throw both your legs down together, right? And once you can do a few little licks like that, then you'll start to develop some confidence, and then you'll start to be able to, go further. And of course, quads, which everybody knows, right, left, right, and you start really slow, and you make it really steady and strong, and you if it sounds bad, then you're going too fast, right? Steve Morse has a beautiful quote that I love, which is speed that's not accurate doesn't count. It doesn't matter if you play fast if it's gross.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Can you maybe you can teach me or give me some advice about the following? There are a movement that I'm trying to do in a way that I can put on playing with a band, but I can't do it for. I'm trying to do this for a long time. I can play this, but I can't put it on the real situation.
Okay.
That is the right hand, left foot bass, two bass drums or double pedal, of course, left, right, left, right hand. Sorry,
Oh, I know what
left.
you mean.
The helicopter.
Yeah, no, I haven't built that up yet. That's on my list.
Yeah. Can
It's
you
so
show us?
complicated. I
Yeah,
know what
show
pattern you mean. I can't do it yet either.
very, very slowly, very slowly. Yeah,
Yeah, same thing as you, right? I can't do it in a way that it doesn't sound bad, right? So I can't play it on a gig, as you say. Um,
yeah.
but the reality is, like, so the person that I've seen do it that I like the most is I love the way Greg Bissonette does it, right? But he's doing it in his solos and stuff. It's not really when you think about in a song, how often would you use that in a song, right? And so there's do you know the law of diminishing returns? Is that okay? So
No.
so really simply, um, you only have so much time, okay? And let's say that it's going to take you 1 week to go halfway from here to here. Okay. All right. So now I went halfway. And now let's say it's going to take you another week to go halfway from here to here. Okay. So I went halfway again. And then another week to go halfway. And so if I'm always splitting, right, halfway, well, first of all, I'm never going to get there, right? Because I keep cutting it in half. That's Zeno's paradox, which is silly. Um, but it takes more and more work to get less and less return, right? And so what do you want to work on with the time you have? And that's just never been at the top of my list of things that it makes sense to work on, right? I'm much more excited about, well, I'll tell you. So with a student today, we were listening to, there's this Rod Morgenstein demonstration that you may have seen this at his clinic. He counts out loud just quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he plays against that, but like goes way against the beat and way against the time and everything. And I'm a lot more excited about working on things like that and improving my relationship to timing, both both just in terms of like being able to do something really simple, but then also being able to play really crazy stuff against the time. And so that helicopter thing, that's cool. It's wicked cool. I can do it, right? But it never gets onto my practice list high enough for me to really get it great, you know.
Yeah, I see. I tried playing like sextuplets,
Hmm.
and of course, like 16 notes too, but never works at a band, playing with a band.
Right.
Just soloing or just playing alone. I really have more control about this, but not with a band. So, what you gonna do if you have a little Rod Morgenstein student, little Rod Morgenstein,
Yeah.
uh, that want to play with the left hand? You have to turn your entire drum kit.
So, so that's happened sometimes. Sometimes, yeah, the drum set has to get turned around. Um, Sometimes I can move like just the hi hat and ride cymbal, right? Um, it all depends on the left. I don't get that many left-handed students. It's really interesting because so Rod Morgenstein, my favorite drummer, is left-handed, and then Billy Cobham and Simon Phillips, they both play open-handed, even though I think they both say they're right-handed, but they play
Yeah.
open. Um, so so a lot of the drummers that like mean a lot to me play that kind of either backwards or open-handed. Um, but yeah, they're just most people seem to be right-handed. I don't know what that is. But yeah, I mean, when it happens, it happens, right? I turn it around. I have one at the moment. I have one student who he's a righty, but he's playing open-handed, and so that's easy. We don't have to do anything to the drum set. But I find when I'm demonstrating things for him, I want to demonstrate them open-handed for him, right? Even though I usually cross over. which is good for me because it forces me to work on my open-handed playing.
Okay, I have sometimes I have left-handed students too. Doing the lessons with the double bass drum kit is more easy to turn and play open, but it's not so common. So let's go down to almost to the finish of the live streaming. But before this, if you have some question to Penny, just write down. Go ahead and use the question toolbox. But we have a question for you about something most theoretical. Let's pretend that you are producing a Girls on Drums festival issue in your city, and you have to choose 5 female drummers to play, and you can put your name on the list if you want to.
So only 4. Well, sure.
Yeah.
I would be on it. I don't care if I deserve it or not. I want to be on it.
Yeah.
So, so this is a name you might not know, and if you don't, you should because she's amazing. But so last year I won the over 40 Hit Like a Girl.
Yeah.
The woman who won the what is it, 19 to 39 or 18 to 39. I don't know if I'm going to get her last name right because I'm a terrible friend. Ivana Questra, right? She's from Puerto Rico. She's from somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Ivana.
Yeah, and she is amazing. And so her, I gotta say, Annika Nillis. I mean, she's just so great. All right, so that's 2. So 2 more.
Yeah. 2 more.
So I mean, it's funny because the list is so long of who.
Yeah, I know.
It's such a cheat to say.
You have all the money to bring.
I get it. You're being very generous with the budget.
Yeah.
So let's say Cindy Blackman.
Yeah.
Just because I have to. Man, who else? You know, it's funny because I sort of feel like I watched her grow up playing, and watching her playing get better and better and better is Maytal Cohen.
Yeah. Okay.
And she, I think she's really grown into a pretty great player, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because when she started, I felt like she was this cute little girl who was really good at smiling. She was a good player. She was good.
Yeah.
I feel like as she's grown up, her playing has like gotten really good. So I think that's my 4.
Yeah. And you?
Yes. I'm 5.
Yeah, fantastic. We have some guests here are constantly saying names for this issue that they are producing. Of course, this just a joke, but we have names not like Annika Niles, Cindy Blackman, and sometimes Maytal Cohen, and it's so interesting because we are doing this streaming since April. This is our maybe 65 live streaming, the number. Yeah. So I have the opportunity to meet very cool drummers like you, for example, of course, and Dorothea, and drummers from Canada, Italy. We will have drummers from Israel, Japan, Tokyo, Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, of course. and the people are constantly saying almost the same drummers. Any Canelo, Cindy Blackman. I wish to have money enough to bring hers. I met Cindy Blackman one time. I did one lesson with Annie Canilos one time. But I want to have some money enough to bring all these drummers.
Brazil is a place I really want to come. So
Yeah, yeah. We have a drummer from a Turkish drummer. The first streaming, international streaming, it was um, with a Turkish drummer, Meow Drums, Leon Sinai from Turkey. Okay, we are finished right now, and I really want to say thank you. But first, I let you say the words that want to let you students, to the people that will see this streaming after on YouTube or here. You are my guest.
well, thanks for watching, everybody, and feel free to message me online at Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Facebook and Instagram is Penny Larson Drums. YouTube is just Penny Larson. And I would love to hear from you just to chat, or I also do private Zoom or Skype or Rock Out Loud lessons or whatever, or just to chat drums is cool too. But it's been super fun to be here, Joel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate. Thank you so much for your time, your patience. Thank you for being here. You are now a member of our virtual festival because we cannot do it in this year, but
True.
I hope that we can do it next year with so many drummers. So many drummers want to hear to Brazil, and Brazilian drummers are trying to figure out how to doing a little issue of the festival on their cities right now. But it all depends. Let's see what happened. Thank you, Penny. Thank you for your kindness, your chops, your time, and your enthusiasm with us. Okay. Thank you, people. God bless you. Bye bye. See you on next week. The next streaming with Natalia Galante from Brazil. And okay, thank you, Penny. God bless you. I talk to you at Backstage Streaming Art. Bye bye.